You will the reading.
And might upon you on Jerusalem, stand and face Jerusalem.
Okay.
Blessing of the Sabbath. Barakah for Yahweh. Bahasham Yahweh Shai. Asherah. Athalanawa. Hashabath. Bashalawam. Thawada. Aman. Blessed are you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, that gives us the Sabbath in peace. Thank you, so be it. Yeah, you can read out. Yeah. Baha'ayim Ma'ad Asherayim Akkad, Psalms 121. Anya Harayim Ayanyam Ya Oh Harayim Bayan Yabawa Isaiah Yabawa Mayahawa Sha'asha Shamayim Wa'arataza La'a Yanathan Lamawat Regalia Yala'a Yanawam Shashamaka Hana La'a Yanawam Wala'a Yayashan Shashwama Yasharala Yahweh Shemaya Yahweh Tazalia Al Ya Yam Yan Ya Yawamam Hashemash La'a Hakaya Wayarak La'a Balayala Yahweh Yashemaya Makal Ra Yashema Napasha Yahweh Yashema Hawalakia Wabaaya Ma'aitha I Walam Bahasham Yahusha so water Aman.
Psalm 121. I will lift up my eyes into the hills, which come from my help. My help comes from the Lord, who made the heaven and the earth. Give not suffer thy foot to be moved. He keep thee from not slumber. Behold, he keep Israel so you slumber nor sleep. The Lord is thy keeper. The Lord is thy shade upon thy right hand. The sun shall not smite thee by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord shall preserve thee from all evil. He shall preserve thy soul. The Lord shall preserve thy going out, and thou coming in from this time forth, and evermore. Amen.
Aman. Shema Yashra'la, hail Israel. Shema Yasharallah Yahweh Allah Hayanawa Yahweh Echad Shema Yasharallah Yahweh Allah Hayanawa Yahweh Echad Shema Yasharallah Yahweh Allah Hayanawa Yahweh Echad.
Deuteronomy 6:4. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one Lord.
Amen. Thapala Yahweh, the Lord's Prayer. Abba Yanawa, Shabbat Shemayim, Kodash, Hayah, Shamka, Yahweh, Malakwatha, Thaba'ah, Ratazawanka, Hayah, Aisha, Ba'arataza, Ka, Bashamayim, Nathalanawa, Lakam, Yawum, Za, Wasalaklanawa, Kababathnawa, Kasalaknawa, Kababathyanawa, Wala'a, Habiyanawa, O Nasayawan, Abo, Awashinawa, Mara, Kaya, Laka, Hamalakwath, Waha'ala, Wahatha Pa'arath, La'ayulam, Aman.
Matthew 6:9. After this manner, therefore pray ye. Our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. And forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. Amen.
Amen. Ha'asharat Mataza Waf, the Ten Commandments. La'ah, Yahaya, Lakah, Alahayim, Akayim, Alpanyah, La'ah, Daisha, Lakah, Paso, Wala'ah, Ta'ibadam, La'ah, Talakwaka, Shamwa, Yahweh, Alahayaka, Lashwa, Zakar, Ath, Hayawam, Hashabath, Lakodashwa, Kabad, Abiaka, Wa Amaka, La'ah, Tharatazah, La'ah, Thana'ah, La'ah, Thaganab, La'ah, Tha'inah, Shakur, La'ah, Tha'kamad, Ko, Asherah, La'ra'ayaka, Amen.
Exodus chapter 20, verse 2. I am the Lord thy God, who there brought thee out the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Thou shalt have no other God before me. Thou shalt not make to thee any graven images, or any likeness, or anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them. For I, the Lord, thy God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children, upon the third and fourth generation of them that hate me, and show mercy to 2,000 of them that love me and keep my commandments. Thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain. For the Lord will not hold him guilty that take his name in vain. Remember the Sabbath day, keep it holy. 6 days should thou labor and do all thy work. But the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God. In it thou shalt not do any work, thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, thy manservants, nor thy maidservants, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates. For in 6 days the Lord made the heavens and the earth, the sea, and all that in them is. His rest and rest the seventh day. Wherefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it. Honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be long upon the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee. Thou shalt not kill. Thou shalt not commit adultery. Thou shalt not steal. Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. Thou shalt not convert thy neighbor's house. Thou shalt not convert thy neighbor's wife, nor his manservant, nor his maidservant, nor his ox, nor his ass, nor anything that is thy neighbor's. Amen.
Amen. Shabbat, be seated.
I can do the same thing.
Barakatha Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Asherah, Nathalanawa, Parya Hagapin, Thawada Aman, by Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Ath, Yasha Allah. I might upon you all Jerusalem, stand and face Jerusalem. Barakatha Yahweh, Hakadal, Rakoam, Abiyah, Wanaba'ah, Alayawan, Malak, Sho, Shemayim, Wa'aratazah, Wako, Dabayim, Kayayim, Wagum, Hamashiach, Mayahawa, Adawanawa, Ahabnawa, Hapalah, Yahweh Yahweh Shai, Zakarnawa, Yahweh, Barataza 1, Ainka, Yasha Allah, Izarnawa, Banah, Wasap, Yasha Allah, O, Nanawa, Yum Yun, Aitha, Kayawamyam, Makwadam, Baba Kushah, Shalat, Mayaka Allah, Wahataz Wadak, Alahayim, La, Magunnawa, Rapanawa, Washamar, Ilnawa, Ba'aikur, Shalat, Haroka, Sho, Yahweh Shai, Lanawa, Lalamanawa, Rabim, Kakama, Tabawana, Wada'aith, Sho, Dabarka, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Thawada, Thum Yad, Wa'iwalam, Aman. English translation. Blessed are you, Yahweh, the great, merciful, mighty, terrible, most high power, King of heaven and earth and all things living, and also the anointed from Yahweh, our Lord, our friend, the wonderful counselor, Yahweh Shai. Remember us, Yahweh, favorably, your people Israel. Help us build and gather Israel. Most high, we beg you right now, like the days of old. Please send Michael and the righteous powers to us to protect us, heal us, and watch over us. Mainly send the spirit of Yahweh Shai to us to teach us much wisdom, knowledge, and understanding of thy word. In the name of Yahweh Shai, thank you always and forever, so be it. Keep the Hebrew only. Blessed are you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai that gives to us the law. Barakatha Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Asherah, Athalanawa, Hatawara. Blessed are you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai that gives to us light to see. Barakatha Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Asherah, Athalanawa, Awar, Lara. Blessed are you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai that gives to us the ram's horn to call the people. Barakatah Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushua, Asherah, Athalanawa, Korun, Ha'ayel, La Korah, Ha'aim. Blessed are you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahushua, that gives to us the olive oil to anoint Israel. Barakatah Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushua, Asherah, Athalanawa, Hashaman, Zayath, Lamashak, Yasha Allah, Yeshaba. You see.
Shalom.
Shalom.
Hey, Nate. Sign back in. No, it's last night.
All right. Shalom, Yashala. To the Akim that's here in school, those that's watching on the teleconference, listening on the teleconference, and those watching on the live stream. Happy Sabbath, or Shah Shabbat in the Hebrew. This is Hayash Kanash, located here in Philadelphia, PA, Germantown Avenue. Hayash Kanash stands for the Congregation of Israel, the gathering of the nation, as it's been mentioned in the Old Testament and the New Testament, to bring our people back to the commandments of the Most High, back to following the example of our Lord and Savior, known as Jesus Christ and Yahushua in the Hebrew, to become or to fulfill being the Lord's servants, men, daughters, princesses in the earth that the Lord intended us to be. We fell away from those commandments. We fell away from the Most High. We fell away from Christ's grace when we continue to do sin or disobey the commandments of the Most High. So we've been punished as a people, scattered throughout the four corners of the earth, scattered throughout different nations, following the different customs and culture outside of what's been prescribed in the Bible. Dietary laws, ceremonial laws, moral and civil laws, and how we conduct ourselves amongst ourselves, as well as amongst the other nations. There's a manner of the code of ethic that the Most High has us to uphold, to be upstanding men and women in the eyes of everyone else. And that's not what we've been living up to, because we've fallen away from what that code of ethic means in the scriptures. So what we do is, on the Sabbath days, such as today, we go through the scriptures to bring out a lot of these principles, a lot of the fruits of the Spirit, a lot of history, a lot of archaeology, prophecy, as well as the commandments. And we go through the Old Testament, go through the New Testament, and we also go through the hidden books known as the Apocrypha, found in the original King James 1611 version Bible, right? You'll find those 14 books from the book of First Ezra all the way to Second Maccabees. You'll find that in the book known as the Apocrypha. So as stated, this is something that we do on the Sabbath days. We jump through different books. Today we're going to be in the Old Testament, the book of Numbers, the 27th chapter, as well as Numbers, the 28th chapter, for today's Sabbath service lesson, right? And the customary thing that we do is we'll read the Hebrew first, because Hebrew is our original language, the first language known to the earth, right? When you go back into Genesis and you read the story about the Tower of Babel, it said the whole earth was of one language. And then that's when the Most High confounded the languages, but there was a certain people who kept the original language, right? And that's what has been passed down from generation to generation, on to the Jacob, to the 12 tribes. And here we have it today based on the archaeology and records that have been passed on and preserved up until here in these last days. So I'm going to read the first chapter, Numbers 27, in Hebrew, and then we'll read it in English, the chapter with edification. All right. So again, we read the King James Version Bible, not the other versions of the Bible, because the other versions have bastardized or have changed the meaning of the words when you read it in the scripture, right? We have been taught that the Old English or the King James Version English is too difficult for us to understand. So they've changed the words in these new books, these new versions of the Bible, such as the NIV, such as the New King James Version Bible, and all these other versions. So when you read Hebrew and you read the translation in English, you'll see that the meanings and the context have changed based on the words that have been altered and made to be a little bit more modern, but the words themselves carries a different effect. So we've gone through reading these different versions of the Bible, found that the King James Version is the one that mostly aligns out of all the different versions with the ancient Hebrew, right? Not to say that every word has the exact meaning, but with context, you'll be able to, even if you didn't have the Bible, with context, proper context, like it tells you in the book of Isaiah 28, that you're supposed to put precept with precept, line upon line, here a little and there a little, so that you'll be able to get the proper context and understanding of what the words mean in the scriptures. The ancient Hebrew helps us out a lot more because we're able to go into that Hebrew and get the clear understanding. But sometimes a lot of us don't know Hebrew. And it's not that you have to know Hebrew in order to be redeemed or saved when Christ comes back in the second coming to redeem those who've done the will of the Father. You have to follow the Most High's will and keep the commandments. But Hebrew does aid or help us as we go through the scriptures. So with that said, I'm going to start off by reading Numbers, the 27th chapter in the Hebrew, and then we're going to get into the English with edification. So hopefully Kahan was able to forward that information out to those who wanted to follow with the Hebrew in the emails. Just check your emails. All right. So with that, let's venture forth in the Hebrew. Numbers 27:1, Wathakwa Rabna. That's what you got out. Are you following?
What in numbers?
Numbers 27.
Okay.
And 28, but we're going to start with 27 right now.
Yes, sir.
All right, so in the Hebrew, for those who don't know Hebrew, you know, Hebrew is fun to learn, fun to read, and it also helps out in understanding the scriptures. Just for those who need that extra confirmation. So it reads, Wata Korabna, Bana Wataza Lapkad Bun, Kapar Bun, Gala'aid Bun, Maka Yar Bun, Mana Shah, Lama Shapakath, Mana Shah Bun, Yawa Sap, Wa Alha, Shama Wath, Banath Yawa, Maka La, Na'ir, Wa Kagla, Wama Laka, Watha Rataza. Verse 2. Watha I Madna Lapanya Masha Wala Panya Ala Izar Haka Hun Wala Panya Ha Nash Ya'am Wako Ha'idar Pathak Aho Mawa Aid La Amar. Verse 3. Abiyanawa ma Math Bama Debar Wahawa'a La'a Yaha Batha Wak Ha'ida Hana Wa'ayim Ayel Yahawa Ba'idath Korak Kya Baka Tawa Math Wabunyam La'a Haya Wa Lawa. Verse 4. Lama Yaga Rai Sham Abiyanawa Matha Wak Masha Pakathwa Kya Ayan Lawa Bun Thana Lanawa Akaza Batha Wak Akya Abiyanawa. Verse 5. Waya Bakrab Salak Waya Korab Masha Ath Masha Patan Lapanya Yahawa. Verse 6. Wayamar Yahawa Al Masha La Amar. Verse 7. Wait, they mess up? Or did I mess up? That was 5, and now this is verse 6. 6 is Kun. No. 6 is Wayamar Yahawa Al Mashallah Amar Kun. And then this should be verse 7. Kun. Yeah, Kun Bana Wath, daughters. Bana Wath, Taza Lapkad, Debartha, Nathan, Thathan, Laham, Akazath, Nakala, Batha Wak, Akya, Abiyaham, Wahai Barath, Ath, Nakalath, Abiyaham, Laham. Verse 7. This should be verse 8. Wa'al Bunyam, right?
Verse 8 is all right.
Yeah, Wa'al, because it says, speaking to the children, Wa'al Bunyam Yasha'ala, children of Israel. Wa'al Bunyam Yasha'ala, Thada Bar, La'amar, Yash Kriya, Yama Wath, Wabun, Ayan, Lawa, Waha'ai Bartham, Ath, Naka Lathwa, La Bathwa. Verse 9. Wa'am, Ayan, Lawa, Bath, Wana Satham, Ath, Nakalaswa, La Akwa. Verse 10. Wa'am, Ayan, Lawa, Akyam, Wana Satham, Ath, Nakalaswa, La Akya, Abiyawa. Verse 11. Wa'am, Ayan, Akyam, La Abiyawa, Wana Satham, Ath, Nakalaswa, Lasha Arwa, Hakwa Rab Olyawa, Mama Shapa Kathwa, Wayaram, Salak, Wayarash, Athar, Wahathaya, Salak, Wahayatha, Labunyam, Yasha'ala, Laka Kwath, Mashapat, Ka'ashara, Tazawa, Yahawa Ath Mashar. Verse, this is 13. It says 12, but it should be 13, right? Yeah, Wayamar Yahweh Mashar, which is 12. And the Lord said unto Moses. So, well, this is, so then did it get back on track? Because, yeah, 12 is, yeah, so 12. Wayamar Yahweh Al Mashar Alha. So like Ayla Al Har Ha'ai Rabiam Hazab Wara'al Ath Ha'aratiza Ashira Nathafia Labunyam Yasha'ala. Yeah, that's in the 12. Verse 13. What's Yasha'ala in the Hebrew? What's Yasha'ala in the Hebrew? Israel. Come on. Yasha'ala in the Hebrew. You gotta know what I mean. Yasha'ala. Yasha'ala is what? Israel. What does Israel mean? What does Israel mean? Most High's people. Man, we gotta go. There's a song they used to say back. I forgot who did it. It's called Back to the Basics. Gotta go back to the basics. Israel is a prince of God or prince of the Most High God, right? Prince or princess is the understood, right? We're the princes of the Most High. Yasha'ala. Yah, he, Shar, prince, Allah, power. He is a prince of the power. That's what was given to Jacob. All right, so now what am I at? 14? 13? 13. Wara Yatha Atha Wana Saptha O Aimyaka Gum Atha Ka'ashara Na'asap Aha Run Akyaka, verse 14. Ka'ashara Mara Yatham Paya Maba Salat Bama the Bar Tazan Bamara Yabath Ha'ida Lahakwa the Lahakwa the Yan Lahakwa the Yanya Salat Wahakwa the Shanya Bama Yam La'ai Yanyaham Hum Maya Mara Yabath Quadash Madabar Tazan, verse 15. Wayadabar Mashar al Yahweh La Amar, verse 16. Yapa Kwa Yahweh al Alahaya Hara Waka Hawa Rakath Lako Bashar Ayash Ayel Ha'ai Da, verse 17. Asherah Yataza La Panyaham Wa Asherah Yaba'a La Panyaham Wa Asherah Yahweh Salak Yawa Tazayam Salak Yawa Taza Wa Ya Amar Yaba Ya Wala'a Thaha Ya Aidath Yahweh Ka Taza Asherah Ayan Laham Ra'ir. Verse 18. Waya Amar Yahweh al Mashar Kwak Laka Ath Yahweh Shai Bun. Yeah, Joshua. Yahweh Shai Bun na one Ayash Asherah Roka Bawa Waya Salak Wasama Kath Ath Yadka al Yowa. Verse 19. Waha'ima Dath Athwa Lapanya ala Izar Hakahan Walapanya Ko Ha'idar Watazawa Yatha Athwa La'ai Yanyaham. Verse 20. Wanathatha Maha Wadka Alyawa Lama Ain Yasha Maiwa Ko Idath Bunyam Yasha Allah. Verse 21. Wala Panya ala Izar Hakahan Yawa Ya'ai Mad Washa'ol Lawa Bama Shapat Ha'a Warium La Panya Yahawa Al Payawa Yatazawa Wa'ayel Salak Yatazawa Wa'ayel Payawa Yaba Awa Hawa'a Wako Bunyam Yasha'ala Aswa Wako Ha'adar. Verse 22. Waya Aish Mashah Ka'ashara Tazawa Yahweh Athwa Waya Kwak Ath Yahweh Shai Waya I Madwa Lapanya Ala Izar Hakahan Wala Panya Ko Ha'idar. Verse 23, last verse. Waya Samak Waya Samak Ath Yadwa Alyawa Waya Taza Wawa Ka'ashra Dabar Yahweh Bayad Mashar. All right. So now we're going to get into the English for Numbers 27. All right, so it says, this is Numbers 27:1. It says, then came the daughters of Zelophehad, the son of Hepher, the son of Gilead, the son of Machir, the son of Manasseh, of the families of Manasseh, the son of Joseph. Right? So which daughters would they be today? What would we know them as today? I'm going to read it again. Then came the daughters of Zelophehad, the son of Hepher, the son of Gilead, the son of Machir, the son of Manasseh, of the families of Manasseh, the son of Joseph.
What was that question again?
What families would this be? What daughters would they be? Because the daughters of Zelophehad came, right? And I read who they came from, right?
They're coming from the tribe of Israel.
They're not coming from the tribe of Israel. It's a nation of Israel that has 12 tribes.
Right. One of Joseph's sons.
One of Joseph's sons. Which one of Joseph's sons?
It ain't the same Noah, is it?
We're not talking about Noah. We just said Joseph.
Well, I don't know. I ain't gonna say you start guessing.
It's right there. It's right there in the verse.
Whoa. I read the whole story.
It's right there in the verse.
Like y'all yet.
Huh? It says the daughters of Zelophehad, and then it keeps going based on their family lineage. And then it's going to go back to one of the patriarchs of the 12 tribes of Israel, which was Joseph. Now, Joseph had two sons, like Yahweh just mentioned, that are included as the 12 tribes. Now, it mentions one of the sons, and my question in naming one of the sons, what would they be known as today? So it reads, then came the daughters of Zelophehad, the son of Hepher, the son of Gilead, the son of Machir, the son of Manasseh, of the families of Manasseh, the son of Joseph. Huh?
They will be with Manasseh right now.
She's of the daughters of Manasseh, right? Of the tribe of Manasseh, right? Okay. But who are Manassites known today as? That's the question. Who do we know the tribe of Manasseh to be? Huh?
Judith, right?
You said Judith? No, I'm asking what is the name? What would we know? Like, for instance, Issachar is known as the so-called Mexicans today. Ephraim is the so-called Puerto Ricans today, right? That's their brother that came from the same father.
Somebody in the islands right here.
Right, but which one of those islands?
Round here by
Levi is the Haitians.
Right.
Levi is the Haitians.
Right? Simeon is the so-called Dominicans. Who is Manasseh?
Would you be Haitian?
I just said Levi is the Haitian, so it can't be Levi. Manassehs are the Cubans, so-called Cubans. So-called Cubans.
We gotta be somebody on the islands down there, like I said.
So-called Cubans.
And as far as they go, America, these islands is connected to Mexico, South America, they go to 12 tribes, whoever left in Africa, and then all over other parts of the world.
Right. So when you, right. So for those who are watching or listening online, because you're not going to read Cuba in the scriptures. You're not going to read Mexicans in the scriptures. You're not going to read Negroes, right? How it is today, or African Americans in the scriptures. What the Most High does give you is prophecy. He gives you geographical locations. He gives you characteristics, right? And he gives you history about these tribes, not only about the 12 tribes, but about all nations in the earth. That's how we're able to understand the scriptures based on the description that the Lord has given us in the Bible. It's the same thing as if someone who commits a crime, they give you the descriptions about that certain individual without even knowing his name. Right? They said, oh, this person committed a crime. He was 6'2". He was he had beady eyes. He had curly brown hair. He had blue jeans on. He had all these different things. He was running down this street and he was going over there. Right? So based on the descriptions of how he looked and then the description of what direction he was going in, you can now use deductive reasoning to find out where you're going to find that person. That's where the police would go and look, right? They're going to go and find in that direction someone who fits that description. So when you read in the Bible, the Most High gives you the same things pertaining to his tribes from the nation of Israel. They fit this description, and they're in this region, and they'll be doing these types of things in the last days. So this will be the Cubans, so-called Cubans today, right? I just lost. I don't know where I threw my pen. So reading on, it says, and these are the names of his daughters, right? Malha, Noah, and Hoglah, and Milcah, and Tirzah, right? So you read these names in English, Eli, his names, I don't know what kind of names. I never named my daughter something like that. But now, understanding the times and understanding that a lot of the names that we read have meaning, right? It's just not in the name, it's in the meaning of the name, right? And this is a Hebrew translation to what we have now in the English. It'd be the same, it might be read something different in Spanish. It'll read something different in French. It'll read something different in Portuguese. But the name being translated still has to stay with the effect or the meaning of the name, right? So it's the same thing like today. You got a lot of us who've grown up in a certain region have Muslim names, right? Khadif, Khalif, Muhammad, right? Right? All of these are Muslim names that may have meanings based on something that has happened in their life or something that happened that people call them by, right? They say, oh, this person is such and such. So that name sticks with him or her, right? But these names, as you read them in the scriptures, some of them may be a little bit difficult to read because it's a name translated. When I read it in Hebrew and I look at it here, I can easily read it better in Hebrew than I can read it sometimes in the English, right? But it's based on meaning. So these are the names of the daughters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He has 6 daughters by this man, Zelophehad.
But no son.
No sons.
That was
Right, that's the father that we read in verse 1. Then came the daughters of Zelophehad, right? He has 6 daughters, and now they're coming to speak before Moses and the priests. Verse 2, it says, and they stood before Moses and before Eleazar, the priest, and before the princes and all the congregation by the door of the tabernacle of the congregation, saying, our father died in the wilderness, and he was not in the company of them that gathered themselves together against the Lord in the company of Korah, but died in his own sin and had no sons, right? So she's coming in front of the priests, Moses and the rest of the priests and all the congregation, because something is now transpired that they're now aware of that they're going to have a conflict with. So they're trying to come and get the understanding of the sense of how they should move forward. But what they wanted to do was make sure that their father's name was not associated with the group of individuals that rebelled and came against the Most High. Right. So she said, my father died in the wilderness back then. However, he wasn't one of those that died with Korah. If you remember what happened with Korah, Korah was a group that came and stood up against Moses, saying that he took too much on himself to be the voice between the Most High and Israel, right? And that they wanted to come and now stand before the people, right? But the Most High had already said that he's dealing with Moses, right? He told the people, he told his brother Aaron and his sister Miriam, right? But now they came and said, no, this should not be the thing. You take too much. We're going to now bring these censers. The Most High told Moses to have them bring these censers in front of them, right? Burning with incense. And that was going to be now a sign between the Most High and the children of Israel of who the Lord was dealing with. When you read it in Numbers, the 16th chapter, the Most High opened up the earth and had the earth swallow up all of those men. And that was a testimony against those men for the rebellion that they did against the Lord and his chosen at that time. So now when you mention Korah, right? Remember what happened with Korah? That has some context to it. You say, oh yeah, those men was wicked as all hell. Those men died. The Most High swallowed up. There wasn't nothing like that before. Right. So it was something that was ingrained in our minds, remembering what happened before. But she didn't want her father to be associated with that. Okay. Right. So that's what she's letting it be known so that they can proceed forward. Right. Yao Kanan.
Oh, I was saying number 16.
Yeah, that's where it's at. Go ahead.
You beat the two, man.
No.
It's number 16.
Chapter 16.
What verse?
Okay, you gonna say it.
I'm trying to find the
I
first
got
one. It's in
it
there.
highlighted. Let me see.
So go to number 16, 1. I'm going to read 1 down to 5.
Yeah, fine.
All right, you got it?
Yes.
Number 16 and 1, it says, Now Korah, the son of Izhar, the son of Kohath, the son of Levi, and Dathan and Abiram, the sons of Eliab, and On, the sons of Peleth, sons of Reuben, took men, right? So now here it is. You got these men that's about to now come and stand before Moses. It said, Korah, right? It says, and they rose up before Moses with certain of the children of Israel, 250 princes of the assembly, famous in the congregation, men of renown. So that's why when you read princes, it doesn't always mean the son of a king, right? Princes just means exactly how it describes. Famous in the congregation, men of renown, right? So these was people who was highly esteemed at that time amongst the congregation. Not sons of a king, but highly esteemed, famous, reputable individuals. 250 of them with Korah came before Moses. And they gathered themselves together against Moses and against Aaron and said unto them, Ye take too much upon you, seeing all the congregation are holy, every one of them, and the Lord is among them. Wherefore then lift ye up yourselves above the congregation of the Lord, right? So he's saying, listen, good, you holy, but you ain't got to be the only one. All of us is holy, right? So now why you got to be the one to lift yourself up above everybody else?
That's how people is today.
Right. So, right.
Yo, why you get to run this like this, man?
So now, let's go back to Numbers 12.
All right. Oh, Numbers 12.
Numbers 12. We had number 16. Now I'm going to jump back further to Numbers 12.
Chapter 12.
I was just thinking the same thing.
What, verse 12?
Yeah. I was
Oh, no. Sorry. My bad. Numbers chapter 12.
I was thinking the same thing, you know.
Chapter 12, what verse?
I'm going to start at the second verse.
I thought the same is the spirit.
12, 2.
Numbers 12. Oh, that's what you're going to go to? Numbers 12 and 2. Now, this is Moses with his siblings, Aaron and Miriam, right? Now they're going to come and speak before Moses. Come almost with the same spirit, right? Verse 2. And they said, Hath the Lord indeed spoken only by Moses? Have he not spoken also by us? And the Lord heard it. Now the man Moses was very meek above all the men which were upon the face of the earth. And the Lord spake suddenly unto Moses and unto Aaron and unto Miriam, Come out ye three unto the tabernacle of the congregation. And they three came out. And the Lord came down in the pillar of a cloud and stood in the door of the tabernacle and called Aaron and Miriam, and they both came forth.
Get over here.
And he said, Hear now my words. If there be a prophet among you, I, the Lord, will make myself known unto him in a vision and will speak unto him in a dream. So amongst the people, if there's a prophet there, the Most High says he's going to speak to them in dreams or in a vision, right? The Lord is going to make that determination of who he's going to deal with. But now verse 7, my servant Moses is not so, who is faithful in all mine house. With him will I speak mouth to mouth, even apparently, and not in dark speeches, and the similitude of the Lord shall he behold. Wherefore were ye not afraid to speak against my servant Moses? And the anger of the Lord was kindled against them, and he departed. And the cloud departed from off the tabernacle, and behold, Miriam became leprous, white as snow. And Aaron looked upon Miriam, and behold, she was leprous. So now when they came and said that to their brother Moses, the Most High heard it, then had to come down in the cloud and the pillar before the tabernacle, called them out, all three of them. Had Moses stand there and then got on Miriam and Aaron, right? one would presume that Miriam was the one who started this, right? Because she got the judgment, right? So now she was made leprous because she wanted to include herself in the position that the Most High had chosen Moses.
Right.
And the Most High had to come and chasten them and say, look, this is what I'm doing, right? Because these types of thoughts comes from, you know, your own lustful spirit to want to be in league with somebody, right? To have the same position, that covetous type spirit. So a lot of times you may see people and you see them have certain things, or you see them in the position that they're in. That's the position that they're in. But then you feel like you're looking at them like, well, why he got to be there? Why she got to be there? Why I ain't going to be there, right? Not knowing everything ain't for everybody, right? Sometimes certain people are elevated or put in positions based on choice. Either the people make those determinations, like when David became king over Saul, or the Most High chooses a certain individual, like what we're reading here with Moses. So Miriam was judged for that. So now when we go back to number 16, same thing with Korah and these men. 250 of them coming and down try to take the position of Moses. Moses is like, oh man, y'all don't know what y'all dealing with. I just went through this with my siblings. Now here y'all come, and they coming in force, right?
In a big force.
In a big force. So now jump to number 16.
Verse 16.
No, Numbers chapter 16.
Okay.
Not just two, no, 4 people.
What y'all want?
Now I'm gonna start at 20.
16 and 20.
Yeah.
Okay.
So scared.
So it says, and the Lord spake unto Moses and unto Aaron, saying, separate yourselves from among this congregation, that I may consume them in a moment, right? So the Most High now has made his judgment. These men about to die, right? I'm about to consume them in a moment. The Most High can deal with you over a period of time, or he can deal with you in a moment, in a blink of an eye, in a second, right? So now those who don't want to follow are not in that same spirit. If you were in their congregation, if you were in their presence, you better move. You better move. You better get out the way, right? You don't want to be a casualty of this judgment. Separate yourself and go over there, right? It says, and they fell upon their faces and said, O God, the God of the spirits of all flesh, shall one man sin, and will there be wrath with all the congregation? And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, speak unto the congregation, saying, get ye up from about the tabernacle of Korah, Dathan, and Abiram, right? So Moses is now trying to plead and like, listen, because that one man, Korah, he was the ringleader. All of them, does everybody got to die?
That's what he's saying.
Right. But now Moses, of course, he can't see everyone's spirit like the Most High can see spirits. Right. He don't know who is righteous. I mean, who's righteous and who's wicked. So the Most High had to repeat himself again and say, what? Listen, tell everybody to get from amongst those men right there. Right. Separate themselves. Verse 25. And Moses rose up and went unto Dathan and Abiram, and the elders of Israel followed him. And he spake unto the congregation, saying, depart, I pray you, from the tents of these wicked men, and touch nothing of theirs, lest ye be consumed in all their sins. So they got up from the tabernacle of Korah, Dathan, and Abiram, and on every side. And Dathan and Abiram came out and stood in the door of their tents, and their wives and their sons and their little children. And Moses said, hereby ye shall know that the Lord hath sent me to do all these works, for I have not done them of my own hand, right? So y'all thinking that I put myself up here, that I'm stepping above everybody because I want to have power or prestige over everybody. No, the Most High sent me and put me here. Now you're about to understand that this is of a truth, because the Lord is about to do things. Verse 29. If these men die the common death of all men, or if they be visited after visitation of all men, then the Lord have not sent me. Meaning, if they not about to die right now, they don't be amongst those who die right now, the Most High's judgment was upon them, then the Lord ain't sent me, right? But if they all died, then you're going to know that this is a testimony that the Most High is working with Moses.
Right.
But if the Lord make a new thing, and the earth open her mouth and swallow them up with all the appertainance unto them, and they go down quick into the pit, then shall ye understand that these men have provoked the Lord. Right? The Most High got upset, and now he would consume them.
Most High gonna take care of business
That's
now.
right.
Right, I'm gonna read the next 2 verses. It says, and it came to pass as he had made an end of speaking all these words, that the ground clave asunder that was under them, and the earth opened her mouth and swallowed them up, and their houses, and all the men that appertained unto Korah, and all their goods. Right. So everything that they had, because again, they was in their own areas, their tabernacles.
Right.
So now, if you had any belongings, if you were staying near them, you had to uproot your whole tabernacle.
Right. Get out the way.
You had to move it over there. This wasn't just your body moving. You got to move.
Out the way.
Move out the way. Not just move out the way. Get your stuff. Get all your belongings. Move your tent from here to over there. Right? And then it says, what? The ground clave like an earthquake. The ground clave and buckled open, and all their stuff and them and their possessions went down into the pit. Right?
They show
And
stuff
then,
like that in movies. X-Men, my man was playing God,
mhm.
and once finally he had the power, and they kept talking, he said, look here, leave him alone, leave him alone. He said some more, swallow them up. But they had their arms hanging out, the concrete. And when you just, I got this highlight and everything.
Right. I'm gonna read on down and I'm gonna go back. I just wanted to read this history because she referenced Korah, and it was important why she mentioned it, right? So then read down to 33. They and all that appertaining to them went down alive into the pit, and the earth closed upon them, and they perished from among the congregation.
Right.
So when that earth closed up, crushed them up, right? So these are the main 3 men, Korah, Dathan, and Abiram. That's what happened to them, right? But remember, we read that it was 250 of them.
Right.
So it says, and all Israel that were round about them fled at the cry of them. For they said, lest the earth swallow us up also. Right. So once that happened, they all bounced. Like, listen, I ain't gonna stick around here. You know how Israel sometimes is. They like to stick around and watch the melee. Right. Nah, they was like, listen, we out. We're not gonna stick around. Right. But now what happened to the 250 men? It says, verse 35, and there came out a fire from the Lord and consumed the 250 men that had offered incense. So they didn't escape. The Most High brought down fire and burnt them all up. Right? So now when you speak about God, when you speak about the Most High, you always hear God is love. Oh, God is so passionate, this, that, and the third, but you don't hear about the other part. That God is a man of war, right? That God does do judgments and he creates evil and he does certain things. So when you see this, you're like, dag, the Most High opened up the earth and closed upon them and then brought down fire from heaven to burn these men up. Right? Right. So this was a memorial. And then as you read in certain other verses, the memorial, this happened that they were not going to be written in the book of life. The Most High has certain judgments for certain people that, let's say, in the end, those spirits was not going to be accepted, right? Okay. Then you have certain spirits who do righteousness, right? Those spirits are written in the book of life. Some we know because it's mentioned in the scriptures, like David, like Noah, like Job, right? I'm sorry, Daniel, Noah, and Job. It's mentioned in the scriptures about them and their righteousness. Right. But everyone else, you got to work that out, right? You got to work out your soul, and you work out keeping your crown, and work out making sure that you're found worthy in the end. So your acts is what gets you saved, right? The thing that you do is what makes you have that opportunity for redemption when Christ makes a second return, or even to get blessings beforehand, right? So now let's go back to Numbers 27.
All right, that's the main chapter, right? Numbers chapter 27. I give you the
So that was number 16. I read 1, 2.
You read 12, 2 to 10, then 16, 20 to 35.
You went over to 35.
And then you went to chapter 16 to 35, like I just said, yeah.
Yeah, we're done.
Burned them up.
Now we're going back to 27.
Shut your mouth now.
Now we're going back to 27.
Okay, yeah. 20.
So we have verse 3. I'm going to read 3, and then I'm going to read on.
Okay.
So Numbers 27 and 3, it says, our father died in the wilderness, and he was not in the company of them that gathered themselves together against the Lord in the company of Korah.
Right.
But died in his own sin and had no son. So he did certain things.
Right.
Oh, yeah, that's what I was trying to find out.
But y'all got a connection going on?
Right. And he raised his
Yeah,
hand.
yeah, I see you.
He died in his own sin, meaning he did something separate from what those men did. Right. He wasn't held accountable with them. That's like if they did that, they rebelled against the Most High and tried to puff themselves up to be the men to go and lead Israel.
Mhm.
But he did something totally separate.
Right.
He did his own thing.
He did his own sin, right?
It wasn't right.
Not mentioned.
But it's not mentioned.
Right. Okay.
But she
Right.
made sure that God, like you say in the book of life,
He spoke for himself.
she spoke for herself. She spoke for a Bible too.
Right.
He did something wrong, but like he was saying, the book of life. That's what we're doing right now. Right?
Right.
All right. I'm getting there, man. I'm getting there, man. I'm getting there. Yeah, for real. You just missed me. You asked me. I was like, oh, man. Ask Rodney.
All right. So now it says, reading on.
Come on. Where we at? Verse 4.
Verse 4. Why should the name of our father be done away from among his family, because he have no son?
Mm-hmm.
Give unto us, therefore, a possession among the brethren of our father. Right.
Right.
So now what they're looking at is we're all sisters. Right. And our father's name is on this land.
Okay.
From the tribe that he came from. Remember, the Most High is about inheritance and land. He doesn't like for things to move from place to place or from this tribe to that tribe and everything else, as you read throughout the scriptures.
Mm-hmm.
So they're knowing that they're all women. If they go and marry a man, right, and he's from another tribe, that now becomes their possession or their land, because now they're joined into their husband. But they're thinking about their father and his ancestry to say, well, why don't we just get the possession of the land, right? Because there's no son to pass it down to. Normally didn't go to the daughter. We want to keep that inheritance for our father's name. So that's what they're coming to petition to Moses to get inquiry to find out what the judgment is.
Right. You gotta tell the story, Pop. You gotta tell this. No, I'm talking about the Shemaka there. He told this thing like a movie.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, yeah.
Genesis 25, 5 and 6.
Genesis 2, excuse me. 25.
5 and 6.
Okay.
Genesis 25, verse 5. And Abraham gave all that he had unto Isaac,
Right.
but unto the sons of the concubine which Abraham had, Abraham gave gifts and sent them away from Isaac his son, while he yet lived eastward unto the east country. So with Abraham he had Isaac is to give, and his other sons. So he gave both to Isaac and gifts.
He was the oldest son then, right? That's what goes to the oldest child, right?
And I have one more.
Oh,
He was on the job by that one.
oh, okay.
By that one.
The concubine, that's just like not
Genesis
The concubine.
25
on
and
the
5,
side. The
that's
girls
it.
can have on the side.
What you read up
To
to?
go, right?
5 and 6.
6.
5.
And also I have Proverbs 13 and 22.
13.
5, verse
Right,
Yeah, Proverbs 13 and 22, it says, a good man leaveth an inheritance to his children's children, and the wealth of the sinner is laid up for the just. So it's good to leave something for your children.
Right.
And if you're able to leave something for your children, that's even better.
Right.
It's in there in the 10th commandment. When we read your children.
Mm-hmm.
That part of it?
Mm-hmm. Right. So two things. When we read about several weeks back, I know we missed a Sabbath service. When we read 7 weeks back in Numbers, the 26th chapter, right? We read about the inheritances that was going to be divided up by lot, right? Based on the names. So we went through all of these names and reading Numbers 26, and then he was talking about inheritance. If you had a fewer people over in a certain region, they got a fewer portion of the inheritance. If you got a lot of people over here, the inheritance became a little bit larger. But it was based on the names of these men, right? So now, based on what we read in Numbers 26, here comes the daughter saying, I don't have a brother.
Right.
Right.
So now, if it's based on the names of these men, and that's how we're supposed to get the inheritance or the lot, what's going to happen with us right? Where we don't have no siblings and our father's dead, right? The land is not going to be for us no more. So that's what they're asking about. How do we get inheritance? And now when you read the scriptures, I know Kahan Nabiyah sometimes is he goes in on inheritance and the importance of inheritance. We as a people don't really have that understanding or that knowledge, right? The other nations do, specifically Esau and them. They have understanding of inheritance and wealth and passing that down throughout your generations. Where you go and you buy a land or you buy multiple different types of property, and then what happens? It transfers on down. That property is like an investment. It increases in wealth, and that gets passed on down. I remember they said, I saw a thing online a few years back. I think I still have it on my email, where it talks about these few men own they own more of the land in the United States. It's like maybe 14, 15 men.
Right.
Like when you start talking about Esau, right?
Okay.
Like, you know, your Walmarts and different types of men like that. They own a vast majority of the land in the United States, right?
Oh, so you can't do certain stuff on these lands.
No. That's why I mean any land that's in the United States. Even if you went and you own property,
But you own,
you don't own it really.
your house up here.
Yeah, no. Yeah. You don't own it in the sense of like owning it, because you still got to pay a tax to somebody, right?
Right.
If I say, look, I'm coming to buy this car,
Right.
and I own the car, I paid for it, it's mine, right? I own it now,
Right.
right? I ain't paying nothing to nobody else. I got the title, I got everything else, right?
You got that other piece of thing.
But now when it comes to certain property and land, and you say, I'm going to go and buy this land or this lot, and you say, okay, you own it, but you still paying a tax on that doggone property or that land. If you fail to pay the tax,
You don't own it no more.
then they're going to come and take your property,
Yeah,
right? So that ownership is like, you're not really fully owning it if you're still paying a tax. This is what was known in the scriptures when you read it. They were saying you're going to pay a tribute,
Right.
right? You can live over there. All of that region can be yours and you're going to do what you want, but you still going to pay us a tribute. You don't pay the tribute or the tax, then we coming down on you, right? And giving you a judgment or punishment. Right. But for us, we weren't given the same opportunities as everybody else when we came over, when we came out of slavery, I should say. We weren't given the same opportunities. We weren't given the same type of investments, the same loans, the same jobs or whatever. And it was done purposely, right? Because when you look at the history when we came out of the beginnings of slavery, when we came out, we were working for much less than what Esau was working for, right? And they didn't like that, right? Because it was like, all right, now we had them with free labor, right? Now, you know, emancipation and everything else for what different reasons why they did it. We came out, and then we was like, all right, you know, the employers was like, well, we ain't gonna pay you the same amount of money we paying him. I'm gonna get you, and you wasn't getting nothing before. Now you can get, if I'm paying them $5 or $1, I'm gonna pay you 20 cents to do the same job, right? And of course, at that time, we was gonna be happy to take it, right? 20 cents, I wasn't getting nothing before. I can at least go and provide. But now, if we get 20%, and they was getting $1, now the employer's gonna say, listen, I'm gonna go out there and cut my labor force. I'm gonna make more money because I'm paying all of them 20%. Now they're mad.
Yeah.
So then the unions started to form. That's where the first unions came into existence in America, where they said, we're going to unionize and we're going to band up and go to these companies and say, look, you can't give our jobs to them.
Okay.
Right?
Ain't that something that the union was for you?
No, those are the first unions, right? Go look it up. The first unions was them coming and banding together saying, look, y'all giving these slaves, these ex-slaves, jobs that we once had, right? No, that can't be. So now we're forming a union and we're banding together and we're coming and saying, listen, y'all got to give us our just due. So when you look at, they started to put certain rules and regulations of what was meant for them. You can't get them that. You can't do us like how you do them, right? That's why now when you look at unions, it's the same type of mentality as far as for, you know, hey, there's certain things that my certain rights, certain things that my employees should have because we're in a union. But now the union is all is mixed. Back then, the union was just them. right? It was just them,
Not us.
not us. No, we weren't in the union coming out of state. We weren't in the union. Same thing like how Planned Parenthood was.
Yeah.
Planned Parenthood wasn't what Planned Parenthood is now. Planned Parenthood back then had a whole totally different effect or different meaning, right? It wasn't about you know, hey, we're going to help you protect yourself and not have so many kids. No, Planned Parenthood was to make sure they stunted the growth of our people back. Yeah, black people, and that's in history too. So when you go back in the day, you can see the origins of certain things. What's that scripture the Most High said? Can a clean thing come out of an unclean thing? Right? Can you have a clean thing come out of an unclean thing? Meaning if something started off wicked, right? Can you now go and just change it up and then it's going to become righteous? Or, right? Or do you now just disband that and just start off righteous? Right? Start off righteous. That's kind of the same thing where they're talking about certain things and rules and government or whatever. It's like the generational institution of it was never meant for us. It was just not right. So it's never going to be right because you're going to still have elements of people who want certain things to be done a certain way. That's where the conflict is, right?
Okay,
We talking about Planned Parenthood?
I just reference. I reference. Yeah, I referenced Planned Parenthood, the union, and then I went into like certain aspects of government. Right.
No, let me get this question.
I can't hear him if you keep talking.
Hold on, but he had his hand up.
You looking at him?
Hold on, calm down. We gonna answer him. He had his hand up, and then he had his hand up, and then you.
All right.
One at a time.
Yeah, Proverbs 29:12. If a ruler hearken to lies, all his servants are wicked. So, you know, you can't be righteous because it's a whole bunch of wickedness. So it's gonna go down like America here.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
Mine just was a statement.
Well, I done forgot mine. Yeah.
No, you was asking was I talking about Planned Parenthood?
I know what mine is.
That's what we were talking about, something being unrighteous and wicked.
Right.
Okay. That's all. I want to.
No, you want to say something? No, man. Nothing at all.
You sure? Yeah, a lot to say.
No, I always got a lot to say.
All right.
I be listening to recording.
Don't listen.
All right, hold on. Because keep in mind, because I be sometimes dialing in and listening in when I be going where I'm at, and it comes off like we just it's like totally disorganized when everybody just shouting out and just talking over. It don't sound like, you know, like if Yahweh Shah Christ was here, I'm pretty sure we wouldn't just carry on and conduct ourselves that way.
People push the button and the ground will open
Exactly,
up.
right? Exactly. So let's have a little bit more decorum, right? Back in the day, let's have a bit more decorum. What we used to do so that can quench that spirit. Just raise your hand. Just raise your hand. If you got a comment or if you got a question, just raise your hand, and then I'll get to you in order. All right, y'all can.
Yeah. I just want to read Numbers 36 and 6 and 7.
Oh, wait. Yeah, I'm.
Hold it.
Yeah, hold that.
Okay.
Yeah, hold that. Yeah, write that down. We coming right back to that. I'm gonna read 4 and then I'm gonna continue on. It says, "Why should the name of our father be done away from among his family, because he have no son? Give unto us therefore a possession among the brethren of our father." And Moses brought their cause before the Lord. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, "The daughters of Zelophehad speak right. Thou shalt surely give them a possession of an inheritance among their father's brethren. And thou shalt cause the inheritance of their father to pass unto them. And thou shalt speak unto the children of Israel, saying, If a man die and have no son, then ye shall cause his inheritance to pass unto his daughter. And if he have no daughter, ye shall give his inheritance unto his brethren. And if he have no brethren, then ye shall give his inheritance unto his father's brethren. And if his father have no brethren, then shall ye give his inheritance unto his kinsman that is next to him of his family. And he shall possess it, and it shall be unto the children of Israel a statute of judgment, as the Lord commanded Moses. Right? So the first part of that was what? That the inheritance passes to the daughters, right? Then it went into situations where, well, what if you don't have a daughter? What if you don't have no brethren? What if you don't have this? And it makes sure it goes all the way back now to those of his people, of his kinship, of his tribe, right? So you just go through each one, right? Now, with that being said, sure, that covers the bases, but it leaves one aspect out, right? Because it goes to the daughter gets it. Now, let's stay with the daughter. What happens in a certain situation with these daughters? Now read 36th chapter of the book of Numbers.
Okay, Numbers chapter 36, verse 6.
Is it 6?
It's like the whole thing. It's almost like the whole thing. But I'm going to read it now. Start from 6?
No, start from 1.
Start from 1?
Yep.
Numbers chapter 36, verse 1. And the chief fathers of the families of the children of Gilead and the son of Machir, the son of Manasseh, of the families of the sons of Joseph, came near and spake before Moses and before the princes, the chief fathers of the children of Israel. And they said, the Lord commanded my Lord to give the land for inheritance by lot to the children of Israel, and my Lord was commanded by the Lord to give the inheritance of Zelophehad, our brother, unto his daughters.
Right. So they're recapping what we just read in Numbers 27, right? But now these men can reconsider about another aspect about what happens when these daughters get this inheritance. Read.
Verse 3. And if they be married to any of the sons of the other tribes of the children of Israel.
Stop. So now here it is. These daughters are Manassites, so-called Cubans. Right. But if these women go and marry someone outside of the tribe of Manasseh, that's where we at. Read.
Right. Then shall their inheritance be taken from the inheritance of our fathers, and shall be put to the inheritance of the tribe whereunto they are received. So shall it be taken from the lot of our inheritance.
Come on.
Verse 4. And when the jubilee of the children of Israel shall be, then shall their inheritance be put into the inheritance of the tribe whereunto they are received. So shall their inheritance be taken away from the inheritance of the tribe of our fathers.
Right. So now they're realizing, they say, hold on, if our daughters who are Manassites go and marry, let's say, an Ephraimite, or go and marry a Levite, or go and marry a Zebulite, now when they now have a family, that inheritance is not now going to be for Manasseh. It's going to be for Zebulun, because that man now has children. That son is born from him. He's a Zebulite. He's going to take the land. And now it's going to remove from our people, from our tribe. Something ain't right here. Hold on. And then when the Jubilee comes, and if we were to get that inheritance back, we have the law where it's made free. It can go now. It's never going to come back. So what are we going to do? How do we keep this within the tribe of Manasseh? So now they're coming back to Moses and the others to figure out how is this going to get resolved. Read.
Verse 5. And Moses commanded the children of Israel according to the word of the Lord, saying, the tribe of the sons of Joseph had said well.
So they're right. You know what? That's exactly what will happen if they were to marry somebody out of the other tribes. Read.
This is the thing which the Lord doth command concerning the daughters of Zelophehad, saying, let them marry to whom they think best, only to the family of the tribe of their father shall they marry. So now pertaining to them, because they have no brothers, so that this thing doesn't happen, let them marry who they think is best. But they got to only deal with Cubans. They only got to deal with Manassites. They can't go marry someone of another tribe. If this was a daughter of any other tribe or a Manasseh who had brothers, that's fine. They can marry who they want,
because their brothers are going to keep the inheritance within their family. But now if they go and marry, they have to marry within the tribe of Manasseh so that their inheritance doesn't transfer from one to the next. So now they have been put on confinement, meaning they can't go look. If they thought that they was going to marry somebody, they can't do that no more. Read.
Verse 7. So shall not the inheritance of the children of Israel remove from tribe to tribe, for every one of the children of Israel shall keep himself to the inheritance of the tribe of his fathers.
Mm-hmm. Right. So that was how the Most High dealt with the daughters of Zelophehad, so that the inheritance, A, transferred to them, and then B, when they married to start their own family, to keep it within Manasseh, within the kindred, they had to marry someone of the same tribe. And it would have gone for any tribe, right? If it was Judah, if it was Ephraim, if it was Asher, all it would have to pertain to the same thing, right? So like, let's say, for instance, if it was me, right? I don't have no sons, right? So now the inheritance would say it would have to go to my daughters, right? And then they would have to have married within the same tribe of I am. But then I have my brother who has a son. So now, based on what the Most High said, okay, now it goes, if there's no daughters, then it goes to the person's siblings, to the with those, to his brethren. So now it would go to him, and then now he would then say, okay, now it's going to go to my son, so that the inheritance stays within our tribe. It doesn't go outside of the family or outside of the tribe, right? It starts with the son, then the daughter. That ain't there, then it goes to his brethren. If that ain't there, then it goes to his father's people. If that ain't there, then it goes to the kindred, right? Meaning those who are like uncles and cousins, distant cousins and everything else, that's within the same tribe.
Oh, you gotta be in the same tribe.
Got to be in the same tribe for the inheritance.
Oh, okay.
Right now, we've lost our inheritance. We've lost the land. The Most High kicked us up out of the land, right? So we don't have that inheritance no more. The inheritance ain't the same as saying, okay, I bought some land over here. That's kind of like practice, but that's not real inheritance according to the scriptures, according to the Most High. Our inheritance is what the Most High gave us in the land of Israel. Right. That's what's going to be. That's what's going to come back when Christ comes back and puts Israel back into the land. Right. That's going to be reestablished.
That's great, man. That's what you all working for.
Come.
Okay. One more thing.
Mm-hmm.
Remember now in Judges 20:21, that Benjamin almost got wiped out because they only left men. So the other tribe had to give us wives, so we can continue, so we don't get wiped out. Because so we had to get wives from the other tribe. Right. Because, we were only like 600 men or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
We live in
Judges 20:20. And Judges 21:7. How shall we do for wives for them that remain, seeing that we have sworn by the Lord that we will not give them of our daughters to wives?
What the hell did you do?
Because Benjamin was fighting all the other tribes.
Yeah,
And all the women and children got killed off.
How?
Because Benjamin was fighting the other tribes.
They killed the women.
The other tribes killed their women?
Yeah.
I thought they just killed the men.
No, they killed them all.
No, you didn't kill them all. You just have 600 men, Benjamin. They were just men. Women having any wives.
They killed, I don't remember saying. That's because they tried to sleep with that dude, right? From Judah, right? First they ripped apart his wife, but first they wanted the men, right? That's that story?
No, what you thinking of? You thinking of Lot?
No. It happened to Benjamin too.
All right, so so read that in your spare time. I don't want to go into a whole nother story too. Read that. We'll read that afterwards or in the break. Okay. Let's go back to Numbers 27.
What verse?
We now at verse 12. And the Lord said unto Moses, get thee up into this Mount Abarim and see the land which I have given unto the children of Israel. And when thou hast seen it, thou also shalt be gathered unto thy people, as Aaron thy brother was gathered, right? So the Most High then at this point was allowing Moses to get up in a mountain on a high elevation so he can go and view with his eyes the land of Canaan that was going to be given to Israel. But that's as much as Moses was going to see. He was not going to be able to physically enter into the land, right? And then afterwards, he would then be gathered unto his people, meaning he would die or give up the ghost.
Oh, all right. Yeah, Deuteronomy 34:4. Deuteronomy 34:4. And the Lord said unto him, this is the land which I swear unto Abraham, unto Isaac, and unto Jacob, saying, I will give it unto thy seed. I have caused thee to seek it with thine eyes, but thou shalt not go over thither. Verse 5. So Moses, the servant of the Lord, died there in the land of Moab, according to the word of the Lord.
Keep reading.
And he buried him in a valley in the land of Moab over against Beth Peor, but no man knoweth of his sepulchre unto this day.
Right. Keep reading, but this is another person who, you know, if you hear somebody say, oh, yeah, we got the found the bones of Moses, it's a lie. Read.
Verse 7. And Moses was 120 years old when he died.
How old?
120 years old.
Keep reading.
When he died, his eye was not dim, nor his natural force abated.
So he's not like the 120-year-olds that you have now, where, you know, sometimes they can't see very well or they can't walk very well. They had a nursing home. They got people who are trying to do all of the normal necessary things for them. He was not that at 120 years old. He could still see clearly, think clearly, and he had his natural force to go and come as he will, right? If he needed to go out and do laborer's work, he can go and do it, right? He still had his strength at 120.
Remember, he went up to Mount Sinai.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a mount to climb up there when you like, what was that? What he was about 80 years old?
Yeah.
Climb.
Yep. Right now, I couldn't probably climb up a whole mountain. I'd have to train just to climb up the mountain.
Yeah.
I remember I went and did it's not even a big mountain either. And I went and climbed up this thing over in Hawaii. I forget the name of the place. Diamond Head. It's like looked like a little small mountain. And I climbed up that. Man, I had to take breaks. I had to take breaks just to get up that thing, man.
So put 40 years in that.
So you put 40 years on that. As like if I told my dad, and he's not even 80 yet, if I told my dad, yeah, we're going to climb this thing, he said, boy, if you don't get out of here, there's no way I could make it up that thing. Right? And the bar probably couldn't make it up there right now.
Oh, yeah, I can make it.
You can make it? All right.
Yeah, the brick.
All you do is take your time.
Huh?
Take your time.
Yeah.
It take me a long time to get there.
Yeah. If you by the time you get there, the Most High be like, dang, man, it took you about a year to get up this mountain. Took you a whole year. You done camped and everything else. You done have people bring you food and everything else. All right, so let's continue. Verse 14. It says, for ye rebelled against my commandment in the desert of Zin, and the strife of the congregation to sanctify me at the water before their eyes. That is the water of Meribah and Kadesh in the wilderness of Zin, right? So the Lord said the reason why he's not able to go into the land of Israel is because of what he did during the time of Meribah, right?
He did a bad thing.
Right, remember what happened?
Something about the water.
Right, but what happened?
Something about the rock with the water.
There you go.
There's a car.
You don't speak to it. When you hit it.
There you go. So let's go to number 16.
Number 16.
Number 16. No, you're right. I'm numbers 20.
Oh, okay.
No, numbers 20.
And what?
7.
Oh, 7.
It's about Moses, right?
Come.
Oh,
I wanted to hear that.
Gabar, if you could read that, Papa Kushon.
Numbers 20 and 7. The Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Take the rod, and gather thou the assembly together, thou and Aaron thy brother, and speak ye unto the rock before their eyes. And it shall give forth his water, and thou shalt bring forth to them water out of the rock. So thou shalt give the congregation and their beasts drink.
Right. So the Most High gave him instruction on how he was going to feed them. Right. He's going to give them water out of the rock, and he was supposed to just speak to it. Read.
And Moses took the rod from before the Lord as he had commanded him.
Mm-hmm.
And Moses and Aaron gathered the congregation together before the rock. And he said unto them, Hear now, ye rebels, must we fetch you water out of this rock?
Mm-hmm.
And Moses lifted up his hand, and with his rod he smote the rock twice. And the water came out abundant. And the congregation drank, and their beasts also.
Right. So here it is. Moses went and spoke to the people, and then had the nerve to go and strike the rock twice when the Most High told him to do what? Speak to the rock. Remember when we was dealing with Balaam and Balak? And he told him, he said, listen, if he come, then you go. But he didn't even come. He just went, and the Most High stopped him in the way. It was like, but he told him to go. But no, the Lord told him that he only supposed to go when the person came.
Oh, that's why I was trying to figure that out. Oh,
Right.
That's why he stopped.
Yeah, that's why he stopped him, because he was supposed to wait until if he came. He went on his own. Right. So he took his own initiative to do what the Most High said not to do. Right. So now here with Moses, the Most High told him to speak to it. Right. He smote it. But not only did he just smote the rock, it's something else that he did to bring forth this water. Read verse 10 again.
And Moses and Aaron gathered the congregation together before the rock. And he said unto them, Hear ye now, ye rebels, must we fetch you water out of this rock?
Right. Here now, you rebels, we fetch you water out of this rock. So now, what's wrong with his statement? There you go. He said we, meaning who? Him and Aaron and everyone else. Who was the one that was providing them the water? The Most High. Must we get you this water? Right? So then Moses went and did what? Struck the rock. Water came out. But now it's as if Moses did it.
Right. He made it like he did it.
Right. That ain't Moses' thing. That was the Most High doing it.
He
right?
didn't follow rules and regulations.
He got low key. So read on.
Right.
Verse 12.
And the Lord spake unto Moses and Aaron, because ye believe me not to sanctify me in the eyes of the children of Israel. Therefore ye shall not bring this congregation into the land which I have given them.
Read.
This is the water of Meribah, because the children of Israel strove with the Lord, and he was sanctified in them.
Right. So here it is now. All this time that we're in the land, in the wilderness, it was to prove Israel, right? Because we was always complaining that, oh, did the Most High bring us out of Egypt to let us die here in the wilderness? Oh, we ain't got no food. Oh, we ain't got no water. Oh, we ain't got this. Oh, we ain't got that. Always complaining. And then what would the Lord do? He would provide, right? The Most High will provide. The Most High will provide, right? So all of this was to now have us sanctified in the Most High, that he is our provider. He is our defender. Everything that we need comes from the Most High. But now here it is, Moses, he didn't listen to what the Lord said to do, number one, as far as just speaking to the rock. And then he didn't give the Most High his justification for bringing forth this water for them. Right? All this is of the Most High. Everything that we have is from the Most High. So it's not that I'm bringing it to you. It's the Most High. Even Christ, when he came, what did he say? These are not my words, but this is the Father's words.
Right.
I'm not here to do my will, but the Father's will, right? Because he didn't want it to seem as if he was coming and doing a new thing. A lot of Old Testament brothers, they look at Christ thinking that he came to do his own thing outside of what the Most High set up, right? They misconstrue what's in the New Testament pertaining to Christ. They'll pick certain verses, like in Matthew, the 5th chapter, when Christ says, it had been said, eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth, but I say such and such, such and such. They're like, oh no, who is he to come and now change what was there? He didn't come and change what was there. It was the same thing already in the Old Testament. The Most High already had mercy. He already had that same understanding of how we were supposed to operate amongst each other. So Christ was following the will of the Most High and then giving the Most High his credit all the time. Here, when Moses did this, he didn't follow the instructions and he didn't give the Most High his just due. So the Lord was upset with Moses because of that, and he said, you didn't sanctify me in the eyes of the children of Israel. So from that reason, you will not go into the land of Israel. You'll see it, but you won't enter into it or step fit, right? So let's go back. We stopped at 3. Where's my pen? I'm sorry, we stopped at 13. We read from 7 to 13 in Numbers 20. And let's go back to Numbers 27. And now I'm gonna read verse 14 again, and then we'll move on. It says, for you rebelled against my commandment in the desert of Zin, and the strife of the congregation to sanctify me at the water before their eyes. That is the water of Meribah in Kadesh in the wilderness of Zin. Verse 15, and Moses spake unto the Lord, saying, let the Lord, the God of the spirits of all flesh, set a man over the congregation, right? So now, because he realizes that he's not going to be the one that's going to lead them into Israel, Moses is saying, well, let us now find that next righteous man to now set over the people so that he can be their leader in the future.
Right.
Verse 17, which may go out before them, and which may go in before them, and which may lead them out, and which may bring them in, that the congregation of the Lord be not as sheep which have no shepherd. Mm-hmm. So he didn't want to leave them abandoned without a leader. Right. He wanted to try to have the Most High choose his successor while he was still alive. Verse 18, and the Lord said unto Moses, take thee Joshua, the son of Nun, a man in whom is the Spirit, and lay thine hand upon him, right? So Joshua now was one who was second, almost like Moses' right-hand man outside of Aaron. And the Most High said that Joshua was the next one who was going to be chosen. Lay your hand upon his head, right? Verse 19, and set him before Eleazar the priest and before all the congregation, and give him a charge in their sight. Right. So now this is going to be known to everybody that he's now being set before the priest, and now he's going to be the next leader for Israel. Yahweh Kanan.
Yeah. Verse 18. The man in whom is the Spirit. So Deuteronomy 34 and 9.
Yep.
Yes, and it says, and Joshua, the son of Nun, was full of the spirit of wisdom, for Moses had laid his hands upon him, and the children of Israel hearkened unto him, and did as the Lord commanded Moses.
Right. So Moses, so Moses, he realized now that he can't be the one to go to the promised land. So he had to pick somebody else that the Most High had gave him the orders to do, right?
Right. So it's like knowing your fate ahead of time, right?
Yeah.
Because it tells you the Most High told him here that when he be gathered to his fathers, he was going to now pass that on to someone else. And then when you read in I think Deuteronomy, that same chapter, verse 34. I'm sorry, chapter 34, verse. No, I'm looking for, it doesn't say here, there's another chapter that the Most High tells him where he was gonna pretty much die. I have to find it. Where he was telling him, I think he foretold him that he was gonna.
We told Moses, but Moses was obedient.
I think in the 32nd chapter. Mm-hmm. Right. Go to Deuteronomy 32.
32.
Right. Deuteronomy 32 and 48. Zakar, if you could read that loud.
You say 28?
48.
Deuteronomy?
Chapter 32, verse 48.
Good.
Son,
Okay, and the Lord spake to Moses.
Read a little louder.
And the Lord spake to Moses that self same day saying, get thee up into the mountains, Abram, unto Mount Nebo, which is in the land of Moab, that is over against Jericho, and behold the land of Canaan, which I will give unto the children of Israel for a possession.
Mm-hmm.
And died in the mount whether thou goes up, and be gathered unto thy people as Aaron thy brother died in Mount Hor,
Mm-hmm.
and was gathered unto his people, because he trespassed against me among the children of Israel at the water of Meribah Kadesh in the wilderness of Zin, because he sanctified me not in the midst of the children of Israel. Yet thou shalt see the land before thee, but thou shalt not go hither unto the land which I give the children of Israel.
Right. So the Most High told Moses, get up into this mount, right? See the land that I'm going to give to the children of Israel for possession.
right.
But that's where you're going to die.
You can't go no further.
You ain't gonna, no, now that you're going to go further, you're going to die there, right? So that's like knowing your fate, that at some point the Most High is coming to take your spirit. You're going to give up the ghost, right? And then you know why you're going there, because of the sin that you did when they was in Meribah, right? So that's right now, we don't have anything that's saying, listen, when you go to this city, when you go to this house, you go to this apartment, you go in this corner, that's what you're going to die. You ain't coming off that corner. You ain't coming out that apartment. We don't have that. We just continuing on. But Moses knew that when he got up in that mountain, he wasn't coming back down.
Right. He knew it.
He knew it because the Lord just told him that, right? Get up there in that mount and see the land and die there. Literally, and died. It's like, dang, man. Right? So at 120 years old, at some point around that time, he was in it. I don't know how long he was there before he died,
right? But
he was in that mountain. That's where he rested, right? And nobody knows within that mount where he's buried. Right. Same thing when you read in the Apocrypha that nobody knows where the Ark of the Covenant is, buried in the mount, and no one's going to find it until the children of Israel get redeemed and come back to the land. So that was Deuteronomy 32 to 52. Wow. So let's go back to Numbers 27. What are you looking for?
Can't find it. But the Most High told this king that he's gonna add 15 years to his life.
Yeah.
Who is that king again? Zedekiah or something like that?
I think so.
What verse are we in now?
We had chapter 27. We have verse 19. That was Hezekiah. So verse, yeah. It says, and set him before Eleazar the priest and before all the congregation, and give him a charge in their sight. And thou shalt put some of thine honor upon him, that all the congregation of the children of Israel may be obedient. Right? So now the Most High wanted to make sure that everybody was entrusted that he was going to be the one that was going to leave him. And Moses ensured. It's like when you pass the reins on to someone else, it's usually a passing of the guard or a chain of command that has now been transferred. So it's like, listen, I'm that person now, and now he's the one that's going to lead you. Right. Outside of someone just usurping authority, and folks don't recognize him as being the true leader or the person or captain because he didn't get that authority or blessing from the person who was his predecessor. In this case, the Most High said, no, I want you to do that now in front of everybody so that they know that you have now given him his honor and his just due. Somebody had to hand up? Yeah, what can I?
Yeah. Oh, like 1 Kings 1:11. It says, wherefore Nathan spake unto Bathsheba, the mother of Solomon, saying, hast thou not heard that Adonijah, the son of Haggith, doth reign, and David our Lord knoweth it not? So this is Adonijah. He wanted to be king because when David died, he wanted to be king. So So it's going to jump to verse 13. Go and get thee unto King David, and say unto him, didst not thou, my lord, O king, swear unto thine handmaid, saying, assuredly Solomon thy son shall reign after me, and he shall sit upon my throne? Why then doth Adonijah reign? So there's a thing that, like Adonijah, he wanted to be king after David. But David called, when you read further down, that David called Solomon, that he's going to reign after him.
Right.
When you read further down.
Exactly. So then that was the transferring of the kingdom from one to the next. Same thing now, transferring of leadership from Moses to Joshua, and that honor and that prestige had to be set upon him in the sight of all Israel. That's what the Most High wanted Moses to do. So in read 20 again, and thou shalt put some of thine honor upon him, that all the congregation of the children of Israel may be obedient. And he shall stand before Eleazar the priest, who shall ask counsel for him after the judgment of Urim before the Lord. At his word shall they go out, and at his word shall they come in, both he and all the children of Israel with him, even all the congregation. Right? So now it say he shall stand before Eleazar the priest, right, who shall ask counsel for him after the judgment of Urim before the Lord. So when you read it back in Exodus 28, the Most High had on the breastplate of the high priest, he was supposed to put the Urim and the Thummim, right? And it stood for lights and perfection that was on his breastplate. So he had to have that as the high priest when he comes before the Most High to get the judgment for the Most High. So now you will see, you read throughout scriptures where kings or leaders wanted to take certain initiatives, they would go to the priest so that the priest can ask counsel of the Most High on how they're supposed to move, what they're supposed to do, that they weren't just doing this out of their own heart or their own will, right? So then now Joshua has to stand before Eleazar, and Eleazar was going to be now that conduit for him to hear the word of the Most High to receive judgment, right? So that's what that relates to. Somebody had their hand up?
Oh, you read it. Exodus 28:30.
Right.
And like what you mentioned about like Saul.
Mm-hmm. What about Saul?
No, that the Most High didn't speak to him in was it 1 Samuel 23:9-12.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't speak to him between Urim and Thummim. The Most High wasn't speaking to Saul,
Mm-hmm.
giving him any kind of answer.
Con.
You want to read that?
Sure, I'll read it. This is Exodus 28. Oh, you talking about reading what Saul?
28.
Oh, 28:30.
Is that what he's talking about?
No, he's talking about what he's talking about with Saul is that the Most High wasn't dealing with him. So he wasn't able to go before the priest, so he went and got a witch to come and try to find the counsel of the Most High, right? Here, when you have righteous men who were set up by the Most High, they now had the order to go and stand before the priest to hear the judgment or the word of the Most High pertaining to different situations and circumstances, right? But as it relates to the judgment of Urim, when you read it in the Hebrew, like a war, that's what Urim stands for, a war or lights. And then the Thummim is for perfection, right? So now in Exodus 28:30, it says, and thou shalt put in the breastplate of judgment the Urim and the Thummim, and they shall be upon Aaron's heart when he goeth in before the Lord. And Aaron shall bear the judgment of the children of Israel upon his heart before the Lord continually. So this is upon the garments that the priests wore when they went in and out before the Most High. And as he went in, he would bring forth the judgments or the questions or the things that the children of Israel had, and the Most High would now give that answer to Aaron, and Aaron would bring that back to the congregation, right? So now here it is in this context. Now, as Joshua now is being set up, he now is commanded to stand before who? Eleazar. So now Eleazar is that priest who now has the Urim and the Thummim on him to go and receive the judgment before the Lord. So that's why in Numbers 27 and 21, it says, and he shall stand before Eleazar the priest, who shall ask counsel for him before the Lord, after the judgment of Urim before the Lord. So now he's that high priest set up like Aaron was in the beginning. The high priesthood goes and transfers down throughout generations at the time where a person dies, now someone else is set up. Eleazar is that guy now. Moses is going to die soon. Now Joshua now has to come and stand before Eleazar to receive counsel from the Most High. He's that high priest. He's that one that wears that upon his breastplate to go and stand before the Lord to receive the word. So a lot of times when you read things that's in the scriptures, is ritual. A lot of it seems to be ritualistic, meaning you got to wash yourself. You got to have on a certain type of linen robe. You got to have on a certain mitra or mitre. You got to have on certain things. You got to have this breastplate on. In your breastplate has to have this. On the breastplate, it also has to have the 12 tribes, the stones for the 12 tribes of the nation of Israel. A lot of this is ritual or symbolic, but then the ultimate thing is based on obedience. If the Most High says you should be adorned a certain way, then you have to be adorned a certain way before you come in and stand before him. So this is what the high priest wore, and that's what the high priest represented, the judgment from the Most High. All right, so now let's read on. Back in Numbers 27:22, last two verses. And Moses did as the Lord commanded him, and he took Joshua and set him before Eleazar the priest and before all the congregation. And he laid his hand upon him, and he gave him a charge as the Lord commanded by the hand of Moses. Right? So now that was the Most High setting up Joshua before the children of Israel. Marie, one more link up to write this down, Deuteronomy. I'm going to start at verse 26. Deuteronomy 3 and 26 to 28. 3:26 to 28. Yep. So this is Moses speaking here, recapping some of what we just read, right? So Deuteronomy 3 and 26 says, but the Lord was wroth with me for your sakes and would not hear me. And the Lord said unto me, let it suffice thee, speak no more unto me of this matter. Get thee up into the mountain of Pisgah and lift up thine eyes westward and northward and southward and eastward, and behold it with thine eyes, but thou shalt not go over this Jordan. So different places the Most High have Moses get up in a certain mountains and look at the land in different areas, right? From different viewpoints, different vantage points, but you're not going to go, right? Verse 28, but charge Joshua and encourage him and strengthen him, for he shall go over before this people, and he shall cause them to inherit the land which thou shalt see, right? So now all the while he's had now laid hands on him, he now is building them up. So it wasn't like, I put his hand on him and then Moses bounced. No, he was like his counselor. He was like his tutorial person to kind of build him up and encourage him and say, this is what you're going to do. The Most High is with you. You got this. Watch out for these. Watch out for these murmurers over here. Deal with this in this manner. And he's building him up so that when he does get up in the Mount Nebo and die, he has enough that he's learned from Moses. And now he's rolling with the spirit of the Most High and wisdom to lead them into the land of Canaan. All right. So that's it for Numbers 27. It's about Salah.
They didn't make it all the way through. Joshua and Caleb, the only two made it through.
Joshua and Caleb are the only two men that was in Egypt.
Right.
Right. The rest of them that Joshua and Caleb took with them were the children of those that came out of, right. They were the children that came out of Egypt.
People with Moses, all them died off.
Right.
New
Those 40 years in the wilderness.
Right.
Right. The Most High dealt with them and took them out. Now the generation after them is the one that entered into the land. So it's about a little quarter after 1. We're going to come back around a quarter to 2 and do the second half of the service.
Okay.
Numbers 28.
As our life progressed generation to generation, like the Most High said in Zechariah 1 and 5, your fathers, where are they? And the prophets, do they live forever?
All right.
So generations come and go.
Right. All right. So take a 15-minute break. This is not like last week where we felt the new moon fell on a Friday, so no kindling with the fire.
What you say, 15-minute break?
No, I said quarter to
Oh, okay, that's what it sounds like.
yeah, quarter to 2. All right.
1 and 5, you said.
Done.
Woo!